Hi, I'm Brianna McKnight, and the ecosystem I received is lakes. So the lake I chose was Lake Michigan, and the climate there, the summers are warm and partly cloudy, whereas winters are freezing, windy, and mostly cloudy. Lake temperatures during the winter is 31 to 45.7 degrees, and during the summer, it's 70 to 76 degrees. Oh, wait. And then here's a picture of Lake Michigan. Important animals and plants. The Sagittaria is a shade-tolerant plant. The Ponditaria is also a shade-tolerant plant. And the Sparganium requires full sun. Animals that were most mentioned in this ecosystem are salmon, sea lamprey, whitefish, lake trout, and lake herring. Salmon, whitefish, lake trout, and lake herring, they're all fishes that people fish for a lot in that ecosystem. Plant adaptations. So the Sagittaria can withstand periods of drought, and this is the picture here of that plant. Then the Ponditaria, which is this plant, tolerates regular flooding, and then the Sparganium, which is like a kind of grass/shrubbery, provides a wave buffer and can spread readily from rhizomes, and that's this plant here. Animals. Salmon, they have 4 sets of gills that allow them to travel from freshwater to saltwater. And then sea lamprey, which is a top predator there, and it's also pretty parasitic. They have a file-like tongue to attach itself to the fish and puncture its thick scales and drain the blood. Lake herring, their silver body helps them hide in surrounding water. Species interactions and community dynamics. Some of the species interactions I found are interspecific, where a yellow perch and ciscoes are hunting in the same area for whitefish eggs, and whitefish eggs are a primary part of their diet. Sometimes you'll also find other whitefish hunting for whitefish eggs. So intraspecific, a ring-billed gull searching for a safe place to nest, so they'll compete with each other to find a safe place to nest for that season. And then parrotism is the zebra mussels, which are invasive to that area. They attach themselves to a native mussel or other organism like a crawfish, which ends up killing them. They also attach themselves to larger things than a crawfish, and they cause a lot of boat problems because they just attach themselves to everything. For community dynamics, the sea lamprey migrated and established spawning populations in the 1930s, causing the collapse of the lake's trout population in the Lake Michigan by the early 1950s. However, a major international program to control the sea lamprey reduced its population, and the lake trout population returned by 1960. So the lake prey affected the trout's population because they're also, in a way, invasive. So they were bringing down the trout's population until human interference had to step in. So this is my food web. The phytoplankton are the primary producers. And then these 4 are the primary consumers. So they're herbivores. They're on the second level. And then these fish are the secondary consumers, the third level. So they're the primary carnivores. And then the sea lamprey, as small as it is, it's the top predator there. So it's on the 4th level. It's a Tetary consumer. So fun facts within within this food web. The whitefish recently developed a diet for zebra and quag mussels, which are invasive and affect the area. And then The salmon helps keep the alewife population down because there was also an alewife problem where the population was getting really high. So the salmon helped bring the population down to its level or its carrying capacity. The primary production. The primary production of Lake Michigan has decreased by 70%, partially due to the Great Lake Water Quality Agreement from 1980 to 2000. Although the very large decrease from 2000 to present day is due to the large-scale introduction of zebra and quag mussels. So I'm just going to go back and show you the picture of it. So that's why it's good that the whitefish are starting to develop a diet for these, because they're an invasive species and they're bad for the environment there. And they also another fact, why they're bad is because not only do they attach themselves to other organisms and end up killing them, they filter phytoplankton, so they filter too much of it, and it ends up leaving the area bare for nothing else. So the journal article I chose was Scientists Warning to Humanity, Rapid Degradation of the World's Large Lakes. This study focuses on the degradation of large lakes across the world. The type of study used is modeling, and the general method used for this study is to research primary and secondary data to predict how real ecosystems might change. The type of ecological study is ecosystems. Then I have a little picture here for lake ecosystem. So in figure A, in this figure, it displays the number of dead zones, which is an area of water where aquatic life can survive due to low oxygen levels in lakes from 1970 to 2000. So as you can see here, from 1750 to 1850, it was only like a little bit of large, or not large, like a little bit of lakes of all sizes. There's only one large lake right here, and like one large lake here. And these are the numbers for it. So like maybe like 10. There wasn't a lot. But then, however, from 1900 to 2000, dead zones of lakes of all sizes and large lake numbers started to rise significantly. So as you can see, these little dots of lakes of all sizes started to rise up. So maybe not 1900, like maybe around 1880, somewhere around then, the numbers started to rise a lot. In conclusion, the study found that our current population is at high risk of overexploiting large lake ecosystem services, such as food, so fishing, and available drinking water. They also found a rising number of dead zones and the rising number of lake temperatures. This threatens the biodiversity of my ecosystem because too many nutrients, such as phosphorus and nitrogen, which is due to agricultural runoff and sewage systems, dead zones are being created faster than the ecosystem can recover. Dead zones will reduce the habitat of native wildlife and increase competition, which will lead to populations decreasing. I continue on my conclusion. Also, overfishing affects my ecosystem biodiversity because going over the maximum sustainable yield will reduce the population's numbers since the reproduction rates in the long term will be low. And then these are my citations. And then that's the end of my PowerPoint. Thank you for listening.